people who saw themselves in photos that were unauthorized, the reaction was similar to physical pain. When you see yourself that's out of your control, it actually causes pain that's similar to physical pain.
What are we talking here? Are we talking like a dead leg or like a flick in the ear?
I'm opening up my boundaries. When I told you I saw Hamilton and I was like, oh, this is what I've been missing. Things like the Beatles, maybe I would like the Beatles. Like, I don't know how many there are.
You don't know how many Beatles there are? What the fuck?
All right. Welcome to the Actor's Guide to the End of the World podcast, where we talk about acting in Hollywood in a way people understand. I'm E-Kan Song.
And I am Rían Sheehy Kelly.
Follow us wherever you find your podcasts at Actors Guide Podcast. We're on all social media. We're on YouTube. We're on Substack. Make sure you like and subscribe. It really helps the channel. On the show for today, Sora 2 gets called out by none other than Martin Luther King Jr.'s estate. Uh-oh. And we also talk about how you can protect yourself from getting deepfaked. Dive into the past and talk about child inspirations. We talk about our favorite music. And guess what? He tells me who the Beatles are.
Did not foresee this one. Didn't foresee this one coming. I didn't expect to be explaining the Beatles to you today. Yeah, if you haven't heard of them, stick around.
And today's show is brought to you by... Tired of looking up at your romantic lead? Need a stepladder to kiss your romantic co-star? Tired of just being Danny DeVito in Twins and not Arnold Schwarzenegger in Twins?
Give yourself a boost with Hollywood Heels insoles. You're going to go from Tom Cruise to Terry Crews, now in Crocs.
This is a little weekend, special weekend. I'm actually going to Boston. I'm having a little reunion with friends, and it just dawned on me. These college friends are actually the reason why I even got into acting in the first place.
Oh, yeah.
So I go to college and I become friends with this guy who dreamed about being a director. We became best buddies, and we were just doing shows for all the clubs in college. No desires of being an actor. We were just putting on shows.
What are the clubs in American colleges? Sorry, just to interrupt.
Like the Asian Club?
The Asian Club. Sounds
we
fun.
actually welcomed white people. There's plenty of white people in there.
I could have joined the Asian Club.
100%. Are you kidding me? There's, there's like Christian fellowships. There's like, Jewish fellowships. There's all different. There's like, free Tibet was a big thing back then. Asian appreciation. Oh, dude, they welcome everyone. Anyway, they have the Chinese club, they have the Korean club. Anyway, so we were putting in shows for 50, sometimes hundreds of people. And just coming up with skits, coming up with sketches. See, this is the thing. I didn't even count this as a thing. It was just something that we goofed off and did. And secretly, I was like, oh, I kind of like this. If I named me my buddy Danny, I don't know if any of this would happen. We eventually drove my car from Jersey, moved to LA together. And the cutest thing was me and him would fight over which one of us was Matt Damon or Ben Affleck. Spoiler alert, neither of us. I think we were both fighting over trying to be Matt Damon, but I think either of them would have been good. Anyway, so
is that the cooler? Yeah, I probably would have fought to be Matt Damon in that.
This is the thing.
In that duo,
Ben Affleck changed his kind of brand when he started directing. Obviously, he won an Oscar and all that stuff. So this was before that. Yeah, it's sometimes you just need a little opening, and then you just go in it, and you have that luxury when you're young. All these aspirations and fantasies of, being Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, that's great. And that lasts for a while. And then after a while, all those fantasies are done and you just have to work your ass off. And it's mostly very boring and very grueling.
Yeah.
I know I'm getting deep here
Actually, just when you were talking about college and free Tibet, there was a Chinese student that had been imprisoned by the Chinese government. I think his name is, maybe I'm not going to pronounce this right, but Xiao Ming. It's like XAO Ming at the time. And there was a sign up. I don't know if it's Zhao Ming or Xiao Ming, but there was a sign up in college and there was posters all over for the student that had been imprisoned. And I heard a girl walk past it. This was when I was in college, and I heard first a girl walk past. She goes, "Oh, free Xiao Ming. I wonder what that tastes like." Unbelievable.
Shut up. That's
I
not
swear
real.
to God. I swear. No, that is real. I swear to
not
God.
real.
She thought they were giving out free Chinese food. So that was future leaders of our country at UCD in Dublin in circa 2003-ish.
See, it was worth it for me to bring up that story because of that.
I just, when you said the free
forget.
Tibet, I just remembered that story, but then I couldn't remember the name of the student, so it took me a second to think about it.
So yeah, well, I mean, free Xiaoming, baby. All right, so word around town, we've touched on this a little bit, but Sora 2 is an app. It's one of the latest text to video app. You put in a prompt, it comes out with realistic images, videos of who knows you, your friends, your loved ones. And so they got in some hot water this past month. Videos of Martin Luther King were circulating, unauthorized and disrespectful, completely inappropriate. And sure enough, that's someone that you don't want to really mess around with, their image and likeness. So sure enough, Sora 2 had to remove them. The fact that Sora 2 and OpenAI actually does anything these days is actually, that's kind of the signal.
So someone else generated these. Someone else put in, like, make a video of...
Exactly. So it's
why did they remove them above anyone else's, though? Was it just because of who it was? Like, you could apply that to anyone's likeness. I know Martin Luther King's like like a much revered figure, but I mean, does the same logic apply to anybody, or is it can you get anybody removed? Is what I'm asking.
This is exactly what we're getting into. The problem is when you're not Martin Luther King and you're not repped by CAA, what do us, normal civilians do in this day and age when you don't have an estate and you don't have that kind of leverage? On that note, CAA also put out a statement and slammed OpenAI. They are outraged, issuing a statement. Serious and harmful risks to clients' intellectual property, meaning they're very upset because they're not going to get paid for it. So they do not want any of their clients. They're opting out for all of their clients. Side note, CAA is no dummy. They're very smart, and they're actually very, very ahead of the game. Years ago, after the strike, they launched the CAA Vault, which is a database of all of their clients' digital replicas. They already have been collecting their clients' digital replicas. They're ready to work. They're ready to make money. And unfortunately, none of us have leverage or power to be able to do that. This is not news. It's all about the money. CAA is saying, we don't know how to monetize this, so we want all of our clients off of it. And, everyone else is talking about the ethical issues. How do we self-govern this when all of our images are possibly flying around and possibly being misused?
Yeah, I've just read a quote of it. It says, think of it like a bank. CAA's head of strategic development, Alexandra Shannon, says, if somebody now owns their digital likeness assets, anyone who chooses to do anything other than work with that individual, now there's a stronger case to show that they're infringing on their rights.
It's not so long ago when we were talking about the California AI bills. And sure enough, now it's time and now it's relevant because these bills are still one of the few things that are protecting not just actors, but also just normal citizens. It's like back in the day, everyone was like, oh, look at you geeks talking about AI bills. Well, sure enough.
Yeah, especially to you.
Yeah, exactly. Especially to me. So we have California. You can pursue civil action if your name and likeness, signature, voice is used. So this is a handful.
That's
if you're in these states.
It's quite forward thinking for California. I don't know how many states have that bill, but I remember that was one of the first, I think, in the country, right?
Exactly. So California is one of them. It's called the AI Transparency Act, can pursue civil action. There's also a post-mortem right to privacy. So for people, celebrities, essentially, after they're passed, most states don't have this.
Yeah.
And then famously, the Tennessee, congrats to Tennessee, they have the Elvis Act. It protects unauthorized use of lyrics because obviously they love music, Elvis. Even Colorado props to Colorado. They have the Artificial Intelligence Act requiring all consumers to be aware they're working with AI. That's it. That's literally it.
Which is, and I saw that the creator of, the woman who created Tilly Norwood, the AI actor, has said today, I
just saw that.
That she said that, it's only designed to be in a category of AI. Like there's animation and then there's AI, and it was only, it won't threaten actors. To be honest, I think not out of intention, but I actually currently don't think it does threaten actors because they're so fucking bad that I get really irritated at AI videos now. There's so many of them. Even the likeness things, like the MLK thing. There's a lot of videos I notice now pop up on social media that are like these celebrities talking to, dead celebrities talking to each other in heaven. And it's like this really manipulative, like blatant attempt to get clicks and likes, and it's just awful. It turns me off so much. I'm like, oh God.
The term AI slut exists for a reason, right? If it gets past the cute appeal of, a quick 15-second little hit of something odd or interesting or absurd, that's one thing. We're going to get bombarded with all this stuff. I mean, Sora 2 is literally an app that will just feed you this junk. This is the moment where we see, do we want this stuff? Do we need this stuff? And people like you and me, for that matter, are just going to get more annoyed. And this is where they test the market. On that Tilly Norwood thing, by the way, she literally just announced, the crazy thing is, I actually thought that she was kind of accurate saying that AI might be a genre. Yeah. And we'll see who wins in the market share of attention. So, I mean, that's fine. She literally just announced she has 40 more AI actors in the pipeline.
I saw that, yeah. Brilliant. Can't wait to meet them all.
It's just kind of odd how she was kind of like dealing with backlash and saying, no, I'm not trying to place actors. Oh, by the way, get set because I have 40 more, whatever you call them, 40 synthetic performers ready to mingle. Anyway,
why the wait? Just unleash them on the world.
So let's talk about how to protect yourself. If you're not with CAA, if you're a normal person, unfortunately, there's only so many things you can do. It's self-govern. It's, in the terms of Sora 2, don't get on it. Don't let them take your picture. I mean, that sounds silly, but it makes a lot of sense. Back in the day when they had all these, cool little filters where they, put your face with puppy dog eyes and everyone was just doing it. Like those, we didn't realize that they were actually using all of our data for whatever reason. And years later, it's things like that where I'm like, I'm not giving them my picture. I'm not a person for me. I'm not on Sora 2. Don't need it. Don't want it. You guys can very well have fun and play around with it, but I'm not getting on it. So don't give them your picture. As far as, like CAA's case, entertainers are getting their agents to opt out. Studios are flagging problematic content, but that's mostly with IP. The one thing I will say is each app actually has a claim that you can file for inappropriate use of your image, and that's it. So, these California AI bills, thank God we have them in California, but other than that, good luck. There's a TikTok claim that you can fill out. There's a Meta claim. There's a, all the apps, and that's it. And you basically hope that they remove it. There's no monetary penalty. This is not like copyright infringement. This is, hey, sorry, our bad. So Martin Luther King's estate, we'll just take that down. Yeah. Okay. We're good.
So there's no financial consequence.
That's the difference.
Which is usually the only thing that has teeth, because, I mean, that's ultimately what companies care about, is their bottom line.
Exactly. And so all these forward-thinking politicians who want to rub elbows with Silicon tech companies, they don't want to push those things because it hurts their money and it hurts their lobbying. So I actually just stumbled across this gem. This is literally a gem. I thought it was so brilliant.
Is it hidden?
This is a tease. The book that I read it from is going to be my hidden gem. Danny Hillis is an inventor and entrepreneur. He was quoted, "Technology is everything that doesn't work yet."
Explain that to me.
I know exactly, because it took me a while to wrap my head around it. That's why there's so much wealth and money and innovation and opportunity, because it's something that doesn't work yet. There is a lot of people who think people might want this and make a lot of money off of it. It doesn't work yet, but they're going to try to get into people's hands. Now, the question is obviously, do people even want what AI is going to provide? But the example is technology doesn't work yet. AI for sure doesn't work yet. There's so many things that we have to figure out, regulations, all that stuff. Rockefeller, oil was a technology. He made a lot of money when oil was new. Now it's just like, oh yeah, this is how it works. This is how it always works. People are, sure, there might be some people making money, but that's not innovation anymore. Henry Ford, technology was the car. Like the car business right now, that's not innovation. That's something that we're already been there, done that.
Right. It's still technology, though.
This is what he looks at as technology, and what is innovation. And most, in this case, is where the money is. Now, you're very well right. We can applaud the fact that a Ford car runs well. It takes us from A to B. But as far as
every time I see a Ford car, I give a little clap on the side of the road as one drives by.
Exactly. You're the only one.
Yeah.
No one else. But my point is it's kind of sobering, and it kind of makes a lot of sense. The fact that, hey guys, this doesn't work yet, and it's going to make people are going to make a lot of money, and some things are going to break, and we need to get proper regulation. It's no different than with the internet rules. When the internet happened, we have internet regulations. We have, copyright infringement. We have all those rules set in place.
That's true. Yeah. Remember dial-up? Remember the noise that dial-up made? Remember the cost of dial-up?
Exactly. Now we take internet for granted. Do I think of internet as innovation right now? No. We're bitching about how slow our speeds are.
This is true. How quickly we accept things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, let me just finish this thought.
Yeah.
Society always wants new things, and that's why there's so much money in it. And once something works, it's no longer technology. That's according to him. So anyway, we're swimming around. We're trying to get proper regulations on this. And needless to say, it's pretty clear it doesn't work yet.
Because AI is just the latest version of that. But remember like when CGI actors were a thing, like maybe 5 years ago. That was like...
you don't like Marvel movies?
No, just the idea of a completely digital actor. And this is what I mean. When the technology became good enough that they could bring sort of people who had died, like dead celebrities and stuff, sort of back to life. Quote unquote.
Holograms.
Yeah, the holograms, and they had the technology to make it look somewhat plausible. That was a big deal. That didn't really take off either, really, in the same way. I mean, I know there's like...
I think it's still really relevant, actually.
I just think this is the latest iteration of that debate. It's the latest version of it. Because AI has the power, the technology of AI has the power to sort of create it without a ton of human input.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the other bands that... I mean, to be honest, you would know this better than me. Abba. Abba is what, European?
Why would I know Abba better than you? Why? How old do you think
European?
I am?
Aren't they European or something?
They're Swedish. Yes.
Okay. There you go. See, there you go. You knew that.
Huge in the 70s when I wasn't alive. E-Kan.
Oh, I didn't realize they're old.
What? Shut up.
No, seriously. I thought Abba would be like just as old as the Beatles or something.
No, the Beatles were in the 60s. Abba were in the 70s. Totally different style of music.
Abba's actually younger. Abba's actually younger than the Beatles.
Yes.
Oh, well, so they're not that old.
Have you seen how old the Beatles are?
No.
The remaining Beatles?
I actually don't know much about them at all. That's actually another conversation, considering how, I'm trying to open up
this.
I'm opening up my boundaries. When I told you I saw Hamilton, and I was like, oh, this is what I've been missing. Things like the Beatles, it's like white noise. I didn't even know, like, maybe I would like the Beatles. I have no idea of... I mean... Like, I don't know how many there are.
You don't know how many Beatles there are?
No, like Rocco, John Lennon. I know John Lennon.
This is a blind spot that I didn't know existed in you.
But this is what I'm saying. This is all part about the cultural embetterment. I'm open-minded now, where there could be a whole world out there that people have always loved that it just never was a thing. It actually never was a thing.
Yeah, well, Rocco's probably the most famous of all the Beatles. There's no Rocco. You're thinking of Ringo Starr.
Oh, that's it. Yeah.
Well, this is all right. Well, let's talk about this for a second, because I'm so fascinated by this topic.
Don't worry, you guys care about the Beatles over there?
I mean, the Beatles were massive. They were the biggest band in the world at the time. And I'm not a huge Beatles fan, to be honest. But I respect their place in music and what they did and how they transformed music at the time. Which is not, I used to get shit for that when I'd say I wasn't a big Beatles fan. But I think it's my parents were not huge Beatles fans. They were bigger Rolling Stones fans.
If you got shit for that, just imagine the shit that I'm going to get.
Yeah.
The fact that I didn't know Rocco was Ringo.
You're out there talking about Rocco. Well, let me. So it's Paul McCartney, John Lennon, George Harrison, and Ringo Starr. Those are the Beatles. So now you know.
So there's 4.
Yeah, because there was always the talk of the 5th Beatle. I met Ringo Starr, actually. I met Ringo Starr a couple of times here. And then I gave him a little fist bump.
A fist bump? Really? A fist bump?
He didn't want to shake hands. No, he's quite old now. Like, he's in his 80s.
Oh, okay.
But he was going on tour with his new band.
So, this is our music. We're going to have a music spin-off podcast. So just you wait, Actors Guide.
Well, this is actually, let's dig into this for a second.
No, this is great. I love this. I've been waiting to this. We didn't have time to talk about this last time when I was talking about Hamilton.
So, well, let's talk about music then. How much are you influenced by music? Are you a big music fan? I don't actually know this.
You're gonna love this. This is the perfect time to tell you this, because it's a hard take. It's a hot take. I grew up with music, but I was playing classical piano. I was, my mom loved it. I was forced to play it, and eventually I became pretty good at it. I learned to appreciate music later on. I had absolutely no artistry. Acting at a young age would have helped me a lot, but I was a robot. I played technically. There was no spiritual, there's no emotion, there's no heart behind any of it, right? That's kind of how I always looked at it. Classical music, I have a fondness for. Everything else is kind of like white noise for the most part. Wow. So my hot take is a piano has 100 some strings, right? And it's so impressive. There's so many strings. I look at a guitar that has like 4 or 5.
6.
Oh, there you go. And I think it's just a stupid piano. I look at a guitar and I just think it's a stupid piano. And I know that's kind of disrespectful, but this is coming from someone who grew up playing classical music. So bridging off of that, there's a handful of musicians and artists that I obsessed over. I'm talking about, I listen to it 8 hours. I'll get obsessed about a musician. Music isn't so not a part of my life. And so I didn't grow up with musicals. So when Hamilton and things like that, there's just something about the songs and whether it's the story and all that stuff, it actually really did move me, where I'm like, oh my God, it was first ever musical where I was like really, really into it. A lot of times it's like, oh yeah, this is good, but it's just not for me. I have a handful of things that I really appreciate, and I'm just obsessed, and I listen to them 8-9 hours a day when I'm working. But it's a small hand.
Mostly classical?
No, actually, in all honesty, classical is almost too intense. Classical music is actually too distracting to have on in the background. I'll throw it on with family for road trips, but classical music is really, really kind of distracting. It's too intense for me, actually.
This is fascinating. So what would you listen to? Give me an example of a genre or something that you would listen to in the background when you're there's a lot of on YouTube, there's a lot of lo-fi playlists. Like basically lo-fi is just good, there's kind of a beat, but it's kind of repetitive. So that's not really like music I would choose to listen to. It's just like
focus music. But
Yeah.
so I don't. You wouldn't know who this is. Mac Miller. Mac Miller is a okay. Well, so you know he's that big. I didn't appreciate Mac Miller until a couple years after he passed. Of course, rest in peace. He passed from an overdose. I didn't realize who he was for all of his career, how talented. I didn't listen to a song. He was all like, he had a TV show on MTV. He was the most fun, obviously he had his issues, but he was the most fun, soulful, creative artist. I didn't even encounter his music until after he passed. I obsessed over his entire album, all of his albums, right? He passed, I believe, when he was 28. I listened to all of them. I still listen to all of them repeatedly. I watched every documentary. The one person I've been listening to for the past 2 years.
Wow.
I know, this is crazy.
So interesting to me. I mean, I'm excited for you because there's a whole world of music out there for you to discover and you don't get bored.
I never. Spotify will suggest things to you, suggest things. Nope. I think Taylor Swift was probably huge for 7-8 years.
Oh,
and I
think
might
she's
have
still huge.
heard. Yeah, exactly. But what I'm saying is she was probably like famous for 10 years, but like 7-8 years into it, I think I only heard one song. And obviously now I probably heard like 2.
How do you... Well, so for example, for those of you who don't know, E-Kan does a lot of the heavy lifting of the technical side of this podcast, including social media, but you always pick music for the...
It's so funny you say that. I despise the music selection on Instagram and social media.
I'll overthink it, so I kind of understand that.
Yeah. I cannot choose all the trending music that is very current and new. I hate it. Can't use it.
This does explain some of your music choices. Yeah, this does explain some of your music, which are not bad, by the way. They fit in a certain category.
This is where I would need your help. There's a reason why I use the same Wu-Tang instrumental on every story, because I don't have the bandwidth to choose another song. And if you actually, I'm completely outing myself. If you actually see most of my stories, I'm usually using a Mac Miller song. And that's literally how limited.
Mind blown. Okay. That's so interesting.
Yeah, I literally have no library in here. And I can't find anything. So if you have suggestions, email us at actorsguidepodcast@gmail.com. And I'll throw out a second mention for Childish Gambino. Mac Miller and Childish Gambino, that's it.
Childish Gambino, also known as...
Donald Glover.
There you go.
Very talented actor-writer. So there you go,
because,
let your noggin wrap around that.
But it's interesting to me that like you are... obviously very interested in film, but your musical tastes are very specific.
Yeah. Oh, I see what you're saying. Actually, this is the perfect timing. This is a great reminder. This is the time of year for SAG screenings. So if you're in SAG, go get it. This is the time of year I try to, watch a lot of movies that I usually wouldn't see. I actually think, since you mentioned it, I actually think my film and TV tastes are actually fairly limited, very similarly to my music tastes. So in a way, I am actively trying to listen and watch more different things. I think I need to see more things. I actually think I need to see more different TV shows. On this note about the musical aspects of film, I was fortunate to have, if I had any art in my life, it was growing up with a musical background, but also that is part of the attraction, where film and TV is moving pictures, and then you get to add sound as well as dialogue. And my mind is just blown. It's one thing that you can, people could be obsessed about 2D painting, and you could love painting and all that stuff, and it's great. But I was like, when I started editing and I could play around with color correction, or if you start editing and you start, crafting these things, but also you can add music, and then you have a visual element. And then if you're acting as well in it, my mind is blown. So I think you and I are similar in the world of there's so much out there, and we could absorb a lot of it and enjoy a lot of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I used to make when I was in primary school, I would make these videos with my friend Leo Crowley. Shout out to Leo.
Stop motion.
Yeah, so Leo is now he's a really talented artist and animator. We would make like stop motion videos with whatever toys we had around. We had a camcorder in the house, so I would make videos. I would like sort of coerce my sister into, making these short films. I did one where I got her to slide down the stairs on an inflatable dinghy thing that we had. So, but I did it from like, the first shot was like black, and then the wardrobe doors opened, from the inside, and she was taking out the thing, and I cut it together and whatever. Another thing I discovered was if you stopped the camera and got someone out of the frame and then started recording again, they would just disappear in an instant. So we did another little short film where she was a witch, where she had the ability to make herself disappear and reappear. Particularly in film, like film and TV, music and film and TV are kind of synonymous. They really go. One doesn't, they don't. Film and TV doesn't really work without music either. That's a huge part of it.
Yeah.
Some TV shows, like Sopranos, I can't remember I can't remember the term for this, but they only use music that's in the environment of the show. They don't
like
use
a radio playing. They're radio playing or TV
exactly.
playing in the scene.
For the most part, I think there might be one or two exceptions in the show, but they were sort of famous for using that style of music that's only in the environment of the show, which I thought was brilliant and so effective, because I think sometimes music can be used, like overused, in the sense that it is designed to provoke an emotional response from you. And it can feel a bit manipulative at times. And sometimes I want to be manipulated. You know what I mean? Sometimes I want the sad music over the sad scene. But when it's jarring or incongruous with what's happening, or it's too obvious, I think it's very ineffective. It's like the way Roger Deakins talks about cinematography. If you notice the cinematography, I haven't done my job. Because I don't think the music should feel, I think, like part of it. But
you're spot on. It's the same thing with directing. You don't want to feel the directing. You don't want to feel the music. You don't want to feel the cinema. Yeah, you're completely right.
But I love when I just get lost in something and I don't think about that stuff. And at the end I go, Jesus, that was fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
But the music thing is interesting because I think there was a couple of movies that had a huge effect on me as a kid. And one of them, I think probably the most obvious, the 3 Star Wars movies. I remember I was sick one day and my dad rented all 3 of them. And we watched all 3 in the one day. That was a huge...
Wow.
But the other movie that had a massive effect on me was the movie Labyrinth with David Bowie, Jim Henson movie. I was obsessed with sort of all of the Jim Henson world when I was a kid. I loved puppets and I got, I was really into that. So this was a film that like has, like Muppets or like, puppets and all of these Jim Henson creatures and David Bowie, who was so fucking cool in that movie. I couldn't even get my head around it. Like it's such a lot of people, and I've talked to people about this movie, a lot in adulthood, and some people found it really scary. I found it so immersive and cool, and I love that, the idea of fantasy, but there was a load of songs in it, which I also loved, and that kind of opened my eyes to what a story could be and what a film could be and like what fantasy could be, and like it just like expanded my imagination, I think, in a very profound way as a kid. And then it led me to like films like The Dark Crystal, like another Jim Henson movie with all these creatures, and but music was a big part of that, and particularly with Labyrinth, because music was a big part of that movie, and I think it just gave me sort of an appreciation for how the two go together. Through that, I became really sort of fascinated by David Bowie as a human being and as an artist and a creator, because it always seemed to me like this was a guy that had to just create to just stay alive, to just keep breathing. Like, because there was a David Bowie exhibit in Chicago a number of years ago. This changed my life. I went to an exhibition called Muppets, Monsters and Magic, which was a traveling Jim Henson exhibition which came to Dublin.
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
And I got to see all these things and it blew my mind. And then years later, when I was living in Chicago, I went to this David Bowie exhibition in Chicago, and it was incredible just that this guy, like, turned his hand to not only a musician, but like he designed clothing, he wrote poetry, he made films, like he did so many different things, and a great lesson in, I think, for anybody, any creative person, in just doing it and not really giving a fuck what anybody thought of it. Now, he may have, I don't know, but like the way he created suggested that like there was a wonderful feeling of him just doing it for him, just because he wanted to create. He had to keep creating. And I think that's a great lesson for any actor or director or any artist of any kind, to just keep creating stuff.
Dude, that's spot on. I mean, if anything, that's a beautiful way to explain it. And that's exactly how I feel about Mac Miller.
So David Bowie and Mac Miller.
Ray was away from his mic. For anyone who could see this on YouTube, it's show and tell time.
See that there. So this is a print of David Bowie. It's a framed print I have. So I got this from a photographer who had an archive of images that he bought. I think he came across this archive of images. So this archive of images, I think he bought them sight unseen. So he didn't know what was in them. There was millions, I think literally millions of images in this digital archive. And what he discovered when he started going through it was there were all of these gems of like, well, lots of different, not just at Bowie, like Bowie's just one of them, but there's a million different pictures of artists taken by, you know, the original photographers, and they were slides, you know, the way old slides, and they still had like the photographer's writing, or the original writing from the photographers on the slides explaining what they were. And the company, like that one says London Features International. So I think he sells these prints of these things for a fair amount of money, but he just gave that one to me because I was a Bowie fan, and so was he. And so
I
was he.
remember that's awesome.
Yeah.
The last thing before we wrap up here, this whole thing with the AI likenesses, it's easy for everyone to be like, oh yeah, of course, you guys are actors. You're so obsessed with your likeness, your images. I want to drop this on you because I wasn't sure if you ever heard of this. There was a study, a psychologist was explaining how people who saw themselves in photos that were unauthorized, the reaction emotionally and psychologically was similar to physical pain. This is across the board as a human being. If you see a photo, say like on social media, you post a group photo of your friends, maybe you didn't ask them, hey, can I post this photo, blah, blah, blah. This sounds like it's about vanity. It's actually not. There's a chemical response that when you see yourself when you're not, that's out of your control, or you see yourself in a light that's out of your control, it actually causes of pain that's similar to physical pain.
What are we talking here? Are
And
we
so-
talking like a dead leg or like a flick in the ear?
This is from a psychologist. The distress people feel isn't vanity about looking bad. It's a genuine psychological response to losing control over how they're represented to the world. So it's easy for us to talk about, like, as actors, it's like, oh yeah, this is this, protect our rights, blah, blah, blah. It's like, this goes beyond just a bunch of actors trying to get 10 cents for using our likeness. This is about privacy in the world where everyone is videoing, recording nonstop. And it brings up a great point. For us actors, sure, we're used to getting our pictures taken, but this goes worldwide and everyone's on social media. So how are we going to protect ourselves?
What if we look good in the picture, though? Does that change the response?
I don't know.
Or if you're like, how dare you take that fantastic picture of me from that angle in that lighting?
The irony is I'm begging people to take my photo. But that being said, normal people.
Yeah, you really are.
Well, going back to it, just imagine Martin Luther King's estate. Just imagine how they feel. There you go. That's why we're trying to get regulations here, everyone. All right, let's go to hidden gems real quick. Let me drop mine because I already teased it. So my hidden gem, I quoted a book that I was reading that I got that Danny Hillis quote. If you haven't heard of Naval Ravikant is he's a startup, genius. He's being into business. There's this book that is essentially a collection of his writings, his tweets. Some of his tweets are just genius, talking about starting a business, success, whether it's in family, relationships, business partners. Anyway, I can't speak highly enough of anyone in business. They know who Naval Ravikant is. Anyway, so the book is called The Almanac of Naval Ravikant. Just one little gem. I'll actually try to put the link in I'll put the link in the description. But so his quote is, "Become the best in the world at what you do. Keep redefining what you do until this is true." Become the best in the world at what you do. Keep redefining what you do until this is true. And I'm not going to lie, I think about that line, I don't know, once a week, figuring out what I'm meant to create.
Interesting.
Anyway, that's it, everyone.
Right. Naval Ravikant.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
I hadn't heard of
fan.
it, so I'm going to check that out. Yeah. My hidden gem for this week is a little known band called Rocco and the Beaters. They're
Are they out in London?
They're close. So mine is actually, this is an app that I have used. I use this on and off when I need to, but it's an app called Line Learner app, and it's very handy for actors. I think, at Leslie Kahn, and we talk about this a lot, that memorization is sort of the last thing you need to worry about when you're preparing an audition. But it is in there because, you are expected to be off book, even if they say you're not sometimes. But this app is called Line Learner, and basically what it enables you to do is you can either... so how I use it is I record all the lines of a script, someone else's line, my line, and you can, in the app, there are tabs to switch between characters. And then when you go to play it back, you can choose just to have the other person speak, and then there's a gap where your line comes in. So just to see if I know the lines, if I know the script. And it's handy when you don't have a ton of time to rehearse it with other people, which is, ideally you should, but if I'm pushed for time and I'm alone and I don't really have someone else to drill it with, or to run it with, or to prep it with, I'll use this app just to get myself in the habit of listening and responding to kind of get the lines in my head. So that's been it's free.
I gotta try that. I never got it as my normal practice, but yeah, it works, especially if you just need the repetition. All right. That's our show, everyone. Hope you enjoyed it. See you next week.
All right, guys. See you next week.